Well, yes, we're turning our attention to developments in South Africa with the report you have just seen. But yesterday as well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyeama, also tweeted on that matter. As a matter of fact, he did say that they received sickening and depressing news of continued burning and looting of Nigerian shops and premises in #South Africa by mindless criminals with ineffective police protection. Enough is enough. We will take definitive measures. So that's coming from the minister there about the matter. But to give us some perspectives on what is going on, we do have Collins Mgbo, who is the head of the Secretariat of Nigerian Union in South Africa. He joins us via Skype from Pretoria. Good morning, Mr. Mgbo, and thank you for joining us today. Well, a lot has been said about this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so bring us up to speed at the moment, because many thought that after several conversations that has gone on from South Africa, even from Nigeria as well, Nigerian Union also being they got your opinion on certain things. Why do you think this is still going on?
I think the reason why this is still going on is the fact that both governments seem not to take it serious. You know, they don't seem to take it serious in the sense that the last time we spoke, I did suggest that Nigerian government and South African government should engage on these issues to see how they can resolve it before it happens, being proactive. But we have seen that we are kind of, we only get involved in trying to resolve this issue when the act is ongoing. If Nigerian government would sit with South African government to say no, foreigners shouldn't be attacked in their country. But South Africa also has interest in other countries. So we haven't seen that happen yet. And should that happen?
Okay, Ms. Mgbo, could you tell us then, is this xenophobic attack or is this one targeted at Nigerians?
No, this is not targeted only at Nigerians. This is targeted at foreign nationals. It's just that Nigerians has lost a lot in this recent attack.
Right. If I may comment now. Now there were reports of threats to shop owners and business owners, last night. So the question is, what is the state of things right now, especially where you are and from what you have heard?
The place is still tense. The hostility is still there. Yes, properties were burned. Some owners of a cyber cafe in Jamestown was looted, everything destroyed. Some owners of a car garage also, its properties the cars were burnt down, and owners of mechanic garages also in town, I think in GP, if I'm not mistaken, also were looted. So there are still things here and there. It hasn't succeeded yet.
Listening to an interview with Nigeria's Consul General in South Africa yesterday, and the question was put to him that what is the consulate doing, what is the High Commission doing, and it appears as though the South African government is waiting for us to bring our demand. So from that end, do you think enough is being done?
No, enough is not being done yet from both governments. Let's not blame either of the government, but if the two governments are willing or are serious about ending this crisis, they are equal to the task. They'll be able to do that. It's just that we've not seen any sign of political will, except for now that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Onyeama, tweeted that decisive action will be taken. So we are actually waiting for that decisive action, to take place. So we'll see if the crisis will stop.
So for both governments now, since you say they're not doing what they need to do, so let's start with that of South Africa. What is it that they could have done that you think they're not doing?
You see, before these attacks took place, there are audio notes circulating that attacks are going to happen in so places. Now, what a government should do when such information is passed across is to use, her intel, the intelligence, to make sure that those businesses and those areas and the lives of the people in those areas are protected. But you find out that when this, attack, starts, well organized, and there won't be any police in place, we'll start calling for police, and by the time the police arrives, they've looted, they've destroyed some of the things that people's properties. So, and the other thing also is that a time has come when the government of South Africa should educate, population of the contribution of African countries during the dark days of apartheid. I don't think that has been passed across to the society here. And I think it's high time they start doing that, because if they know the role the foreigners, as so to say, played during their time of pain, I don't think that they will continue to do what they are doing. But the South African.
Okay, now speaking of action, decisive action, I'm just thinking for people that have lost, businesses, we just saw pictures of cars burnt and what have you, is there some form of compensation that will come from the South African government? Have you heard anything about that?
Come again?
I said, now for people that have lost businesses, I mean, their means of livelihood, not just Nigerians, do you hear any word about compensation from the government for those people who have lost?
We haven't had anything of such. If you remember, this is not the first time this kind of thing is happening. And even those that lost their properties during the last xenophobic attack haven't been compensated yet. And the only thing that I heard from, or I read from the Minister of Police, that Mr. Beki Tlele, is that the attack isn't xenophobic, but criminal. It's an attack from criminal elements. And you see, that won't help the matter if we don't want to hit the nail on the head. This is purely xenophobic. And once they begin to explain that to their people, to say that what you are doing is actually wrong, it's crime against humanity, then I think it will change their mindset on how to relate to foreign nationals. So far, there is nothing with regards to compensation, and we would like that to be looked into, in the sense that some of the properties that were looted, that were destroyed, are struggles of people for over 10 years, 15 years, some 20 years, and within a snap of finger, they are all lost. What do they expect those people to do? How do they take care of their families? How do they take care of the existing bills? So I think the media should assist in that regard to make sure that those people are compensated.
Well, from where you stand, what do you think is responsible for this?
There are a lot of factors that could be attributed to this. One is a lack of service delivery, and then the other is also crime, which is at a very high rate in South Africa. And then the other thing also is the fact that the locals are complaining that some African nationals are, involved in crime-related activity. So there are a lot of things, that could lead to such acts. But I do not see any reason why, or there is no justification for such acts in the extent where people are killed, people are burnt alive. So it's so terrible. It's terrible.
I can relate with what you're feeling right now, but one also wonders, why does it seem like the attack is against foreign nationals only?
The reason why it's against foreign nationals and black or African foreign nationals is the fact that the locals felt that we, the immigrants, have come to take their jobs. The students have come to take their jobs. But when you look at it, you see that is false, because some of the most of the nationals actually create their own. They are self-employed. Most of them are not employed by the government. The people that they are attacking are people who are able to establish their own small businesses in the street. So those attacks are just are just unfortunate. There is nothing to justify it at all. There is nothing.
Now, you said earlier, you said that you believe that the Nigerian government and the South African government have what it takes to nip this in the bud. What do you expect the South African government to do that it's not doing, and what do you expect the Nigerian government to do that it's not doing, especially in the light of the comments by the Minister of Finance, Nigeria's Minister of Finance, the Chairman of the Diaspora Commission, and the Nigerian National Assembly?
Starting from the South African side, like I said earlier, there should be education of history to the local population of South Africa. The government knows the history between African, migrants or African countries and the country of South Africa. We've come far. Countries such as Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Namibia, to name but few, assisted these countries so much during their dark days of apartheid, like I said earlier. I think they should be able to educate the locals to say that these are the people who helped you when you are in trouble. But now that is not done. There is never a day where one of the notable politicians comes out to say that, no, you shouldn't do this because these people helped us, except for one of the politicians, who came out the other day to say that we are one as Africans, but it's not enough.
But before that, Mr. Mgbo, is it true that some politicians there actually feel this?
Come again?
Is it true that some politicians there actually encourage this kind of action by their utterances, particularly during political times, campaigns?
Definitely. Some of the comments made by some of the politicians here are unreasonable, especially the one that was done by Mr. Mashaba, some time ago. And these are prolific people. These are public people, and when they make certain comments, the population might take it, in a different. There was even the Zulu King sometimes made some comments, which also led to the last xenophobic attack. So we are appealing to South African politicians to guard their utterances, when it comes to foreign nationals. Foreign nationals are not criminals. They are just people who also came to fend for their families and to seek or search for greener pastures. So when you relate all the crimes in South Africa to them, and then it fuels the problem, and the local population who might not have the knowledge, of all these things might take it the other way around and start killing the foreign national.
Now, Mr. Mgbo, I'm really concerned for you and a lot of Nigerians in South Africa. I imagine there are thousands of Nigerians in South Africa and other nationals. So my question to you is, I'm sure you have plans for the day. So what are your plans for the day? Are you planning to wait this out? Are you confident that this will be resolved soon? I'm just curious, what is going through your mind?
Okay, and then that question will take me to the second government, which is Nigerian government. I would want to say it without mincing words, that Nigerian government has failed its citizens in the diaspora, especially in South Africa. The reason being that the Nigerian foreign policy statement states that the responsibility of the missions abroad is to make sure that the interests of our citizens are protected. Unfortunately, that is not achieved. And when certain things like this happen, you will expect, your government through her representatives, the mission, to come out boldly, to engage, their counterparts on a high level to say that this is not acceptable. But whenever we see them on the TV or radio granting interview, you can see that they are not coming forth. And I don't believe that if it's their children that are involved in these inhuman treatment, I don't think that that is how they are going to treat it. So they have failed us, and I am using this opportunity to appeal to the president of Nigeria to sit up, to create a means wherein there should be an interface between Nigerian nationals and the government of South Africa, and then the government of Nigeria. They should make arrangements for delegates of leadership of Nigerian Union and the leadership of Nigerian community in South Africa and all those in other countries to come back home and sit down so that we can discuss issues. There are certain things that we may not be able to discuss on air that we should discuss as father and son relationship when we come back home to sit with the lawmakers, to explain to them the extent of the hate, to explain to them the extent of the problem, and also to give them an idea on how to solve it. But with what we are seeing, such kind of things is perfect. So we are appealing to them to create that platform where we can sit down together and rub minds, work hand in glove, make sure that Nigerian lives matter, make sure that our properties, which we've worked for years.
So tell us then,
just go
are you, as we wind down this, are you encouraged by the tweets from the Minister of Foreign Affairs?
It's good that he made a statement, and we are happy about the statement. But we wouldn't want it to stop at the statement. We want action to follow the statement. Let there be decisive action, over the incident that is going on against Nigerian citizens in South Africa. And Nigerian Union, we are ready. We are here to assist in whichever way we can to make sure that this thing doesn't continue. But the problem is that our government, doesn't have that time to find out where is our pain and how do we resolve it.
All right, then.
We are here.
Yeah, we appreciate you talking to us, Collins Mgbo, Head of Secretariat, Nigerian Union in South Africa. Thank you for your time, and as much as you can, stay safe.